Has everyone lost their minds? Are people acting really crazy now? Here comes your Bar Talk Opinions, live on the Brew.
Joel, does it feel like everyone's just lost their mind right now?
Yeah, ever since 2020, people are like road rage incidents, fights are up, like everything is up. Like I think the virus has with people's brains a little bit, but I think it's just people going absolutely crazy over all kinds of shit, political shit, just everything really, everything. Prices going up, just everybody's upset at everybody else.
Yeah, I got to be honest, being here in New York, it's tough. You got to be tough with going to work. Now I'm back in the office 5 days a week. I have never seen so many fights and arguments on the New York City subway in 1 month's time than I have in the last month. Everybody is just, you look at somebody the wrong way going up and down the steps. I've seen people arguing on stairways, getting on trains. Coming back from the Yankee game, this one girl got into it because another girl sat too close to her. It's insane. If you would have tried this like 10 years ago, you would get in so much trouble. But I think part of it is A, you're right, because of COVID, there's just definitely been a mental change. But B, because all the laws have been loosened now, there's no consequences for people's actions. You can be bad now, and nothing really bad happens back to you, unless of course somebody pulls out a gun. If that's what it takes at this point. It's almost like you can just kind of do what you want. It's almost a free for all.
I think it's just because we've been divided so much. It's pretty much, it's everything that I said. But yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how, like, what the answer is to get out of it either. I mean, we're kind of really far in like this slant now of just unhappiness, evilness. I don't know.
I mean, you have people like most relationships are now just online because people just don't make them in person anymore. It's really weird. Like when I go to different places, it's harder to even just sit down in a bar and like make friends with people. Like that's real. I can feel the huge shift.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you bring that up. So I'm actually, since I moved here to Newark, I've met a few people been talking, but it's not like the super friendliness that it was before. Like when I lived in Jersey City and moved in almost 20 years ago, I would walk in the bar, I knew everybody, people would talk about the Yankees. Now everybody just kind of stays real quiet and stays on their phone too. Maybe it is a divide because of the phone. And somebody makes a comment about that coming up here in just a moment. So interesting points. But let's see what our viewers.
I think all of those are major factors. Everything combined is kind of what all plays into it. But we're definitely shifting that way.
Just all boiling over and all hit at once, like worst case scenario maybe. I don't know. But let's see what our viewers have to say, because you guys have a bunch of different points on this one I want to get through because there's a lot. So are people like really losing their minds right now? Here's what you think. Harsh says 100%. Vamos Yankees says, I believe so. Nicole says, people are out of control. It's ridiculous everywhere you go. Rudy, and yes, when it comes to being offended over nothing, this generation is weak and pathetic. Ooh, Rudy is kind of right, though. Everybody is kind of offended. You say the wrong thing and somebody doesn't agree with you and just, it's like the Hindenburg landing on your lap.
Yeah, especially with all these crazy conservative rallies where they kill people and shit. That's kind of what Rudy missed. He's probably like more on that side, but he's kind of like totally missing the point that that's actually where most of it comes from.
Rock for Guitar is going to follow up with something you just said a second ago, and let's touch on it one more time. He says, social media has driven everyone to madness. Now, I agree with what you had said. Social media is partially some of it. You don't have to interact much as you did, but it's also not all social media's fault. It's up to you as an individual to control how much you're on it and what you do with it. It's not, you can't totally just say, oh, it's all Twitter's fault or whatever.
Oh, plenty of it is. You know what? It's social media in general, yes, but another thing that I really dislike about social media, and one of the reasons why I shit on Twitter's bullshit so much, is it's the algorithm. The algorithm separates you and puts you into a tiny little echo chamber, so you get your confirmation bias and you get your views get stronger and stronger and stronger, and then because you're only hearing other people who already agree with you. You're not hearing everybody's side, and so when you go out in the real world and you hear someone that disagrees with you, you're like, oh, what a fucking idiot, blah blah blah, and then you get angry at them. And really, it is Twitter's fault. It's the algorithm, and it's not just Twitter. It's all social media that puts you in that algorithm. But I hated algorithms. When I set my feed up, I don't want any of them. I want to see everybody's opinion on everything. And that was one of my biggest issues with that shitty-ass website that some clowns still use.
It's interesting how you illustrate that. It's almost like hooking a drug dealer. You hook a person on drugs, you give them a little bit to start off with, and then you keep giving them more, and they like it more, and they like it more, so you give them more, and eventually they're going to want so much more, and then it kind of like feeds into itself. It's almost like a crazy psychological experiment if you think about it.
It is. It's not crazy. It is a psychological experiment, but it sucks because it's done on everybody. You know, it doesn't matter what side of any issue you're on. It feeds into that side way more strongly than what you think, what the entire population thinks, and so you get wrapped up into that.
Well, Starman has a different opinion here. Not talking about social media, just about people in general. He says nobody seems to care about anyone else anymore. Everyone is out for themselves.
No, he's right. That's pretty much what it is. It's greed. It's all these prices are going up despite a 60-year high economy. If you believe that trickle down shit is gone, and more people are getting squeezed more tightly, like you said earlier, and they're taking it out on each other, like it's each other's fault. And it's like, well, what are you going to do about it? We're all in the same boat, pretty much. Aside from like people that can make the decisions and up the prices.
You would think at some point they would reach a breaking point. Even a fire runs out of like things to burn at one point.
Right. That's why I'm just like, yeah, whatever, meteor. Just hit the earth. Matter of fact, hit Twitter headquarters specifically.
You know, it has that giant X at the top of the building and it's ticking off all the neighbors, that lit up and they don't like. So it's got a target on it. Never mind.
Yeah, there you go. Good name. Good name for the meteor to aim at.
And then so Adam has a final comment. He says, people aren't getting crazy. They're confused and they don't trust anyone or anything. People are getting paranoid. Little paranoia, I could see that. I don't know about paranoia. Maybe it's just being scared as like, what the hell could possibly happen next?
Yeah, I think everybody's been through so much. We're all kind of going through trauma. I mean, you're kind of right, but the first thing he said was that people aren't going crazy. I think you're right about everything except that part. I think it's all of those things. It's like it's everything combined.
I mean, I would agree. I would say the last few years are definitely traumatic. That's the phrase that pays. That's the word. Definitely traumatic, and we're all going through it. And some people handle it one way, some people handle it another, and some people just freak out on others. It's the only thing that scares me is like the wrong person's going to freak out on the wrong person, and then you have like a really bad incident, and that's kind of what's happening.
Well, violence is way up. I mean, you can look at ever since COVID happened, violence is through the roof. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're doing well, if you're doing poorly. Like, I think it has a lot to do with it. I think the pandemic really, really set people off on in their own direction, and I think it's done a lot of brain damage to a lot of people as well.
Yeah, hopefully it's not permanent brain damage like I was saying earlier, because I don't know how you get out of this. And now it's been 3 years after this too. On top of it, yes, that was traumatic, but like I said, it's like, what's the answer?
I'm pretty sure it's permanent. It's looking pretty permanent right now.
I know. I think, is that it? Because that's really sad if that's the case. That's not where you want to be at this point. But unfortunately, well, we don't have the answer here. It's just our opinion, your opinion too. But if you want more fun, or at least a moment to lose your mind and relax, click that like, subscribe button for all the fun here on the Big Jersey Joe 50 YouTube channel. Sometimes it's heavy topics like this, but there's also lots of fun waiting too if you just need a momentary escape. And hey, at least it's free. So, I mean, why can't we all just sit down and have a beer and chat like this? Speaking of that, what beer were you having there? You were having a Limerita. What was it again?
No, I have a White Claw. Which I don't really get White Claws very much, but I was at a place where they only have these and like small packs of like shitty Cowtown beer, and I'm like, well, if I'm gonna get a 3% or an 8% drink, I'm definitely gonna go for 8%. Even though I generally like IPAs a lot more than I like seltzers.
Well, that's the one industry that's made a lot of money over the people going crazy the last couple of years, are liquor and the alcohol business, and well, marijuana here too in our area, because that's in Nevada too.
That's the one that needs to take over faster.
Yeah, calm everybody down a bit. That's right. All right, well, thanks for all your great opinions. Sorry we don't have a definitive answer how to wrap this thing up, because we're all in this together. Jersey Joe, I know you saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, I hope.
5 more happy Amazon gift card winners just scored on What Is It Really in Spin to Win. Click subscribe and get in on the weekly game.